You know, when we think about chemistry, we usually picture labs and bubbling beakers, right? But what if I told you that you're actually a chemist every single morning? Yep, today we're going to uncover some really cool science that's hiding right inside your coffee cup. Think about it. It's this little ritual so many of us do. You take a spoonful of sugar, you dump it in your coffee, give it a quick stir, and poof, it just vanishes. It's like a daily magic trick. But where does it actually go? We're about to solve that little mystery. All right, let's officially open the case file on this one. Our morning mystery, the case of the disappearing sugar. This simple, everyday act is actually the perfect key to understanding a really core concept in chemistry. So here's your first big clue. The sugar didn't actually vanish. It wasn't destroyed or zapped into another dimension. Nope, it just changed its form. It's broken down into particles so incredibly tiny that you can't see them anymore. It's literally hiding in plain sight, perfectly mixed all throughout your coffee. Okay, so to really solve this, we need to meet the key players. In any mixture like this, there is a specific cast of characters doing all the work. So let's get our terms straight. First up, we have the finished product itself, your sweet coffee. In the world of chemistry, we call this a solution. Now, a solution is what's known as a homogeneous mixture, which is really just a fancy way of saying it's perfectly, completely mixed. Every single sip is just as sweet as the last one because that sugar is evenly distributed everywhere. So who's doing all the heavy lifting here? Well, that would be the solvent. The solvent is the substance that actually does the dissolving. In our mug, the coffee, which, let's be honest, is mostly just hot water, is the powerful solvent that's breaking down all those little sugar crystals. It's the dissolver. And what about our mystery sugar, the stuff that vanished? That, my friends, is our solute. The solute is the substance that gets dissolved. It's the one that seems to disappear into the solvent. So if the solvent is the dissolver, it's kind of fun to think of the solute as the dissolvee. Okay, let's put these two side by side. It's actually super simple when you look at it this way. The solute, that's what gets dissolved. The solvent, that's what does the dissolving. So for our coffee, the sugar is the solute, and the coffee or water is the solvent. And here's a good rule of thumb. You almost always have less of the solute and a way more of the solvent. So we know what happens now, but the bigger question is how, right? Why does sugar dissolve so perfectly in water, but, a rock doesn't? Well, it all comes down to a kind of golden rule of mixing. Think of it like a secret handshake between molecules. And here it is. This is one of the most fundamental rules in all of chemistry, and it's just beautifully simple. Like dissolves like. That's it. This one little phrase is the key to understanding why some things mix perfectly and others, well, they just don't. So what does like dissolves like actually mean? Well, basically, molecules need to have a similar structure to want to mix. Water and sugar are both what we call polar molecules. You can think of them as having tiny little magnets on them, so they're attracted to each other and mix together really well. It works the same for non-polar things like oil-based paint and turpentine. They get along great. But, and this is the important part, when you try to mix a polar substance with a non-polar one, like oil and water, they just refuse to play together. They will not form a solution. Now that we've totally cracked the coffee cup mystery, it's time to zoom out, because this process isn't just for your breakfast table. Solutes, solvents, solutions, they are absolutely everywhere, and often in forms you might not even expect. Seriously, just think about it. The very air you're breathing right now, that's a solution. It's mostly nitrogen gas, which is the solvent, with other gases like oxygen dissolved in it as solutes. The ocean? That's just a giant liquid solution of all kinds of salts dissolved in water. And you can even have solid solutions. Steel is a perfect example. It's an alloy made by dissolving carbon into iron. And to really put the scale of this into perspective, just look at our planet. A whopping 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by one single massive solution, the ocean. That's billions upon billions of tons of salts and minerals, all solutes, dissolved in the ultimate solvent, water. That's chemistry on a planetary scale. So the next time you stir your coffee, just remember you're not only sweetening your drink, you are demonstrating a universal principle. That simple relationship between a solute and a solvent is one of the basic building blocks that helps explain everything from the air we breathe to the vast oceans that cover our world. And all of this leaves us with one final fascinating question to chew on. You know, water is often called the universal solvent just because it can dissolve so many different things. But if that's true, why doesn't it dissolve the ceramic cup that's holding it? For that matter, why doesn't it dissolve us? Well, the answer goes right back to that golden rule we talked about. Like dissolves like. Pretty cool stuff to think about.